Good morning. My name's Chris, and welcome to Latitude Live. So let's get down to brass tacks, shall we? You have this event scheduled. You know you have to do something. Your board expects it, your executive director demands it, and you are stuck trying to figure out the best way to put on your fundraiser while the world is in the throes of a global pandemic. Masks aren't enough, social distancing isn't enough. You need to get an event off the ground that'll raise money, get attention, protect your reputation, and most importantly, keep people safe. So, what the heck are you supposed to do? Where do you have this event? Is it going to be indoors, outside, online? All three? Well, to be honest, this is what New Latitude specializes in, but let's take a quick look and see if we can get the ball rolling for you at least. Let's take this opportunity to explore whether you should try to have your event here, there, or everywhere. Now, the first question you got to ask yourself in all of this is, what is my event? Now, this probably seems like an easy, obvious question, but there's a lot that goes into that. There is never a simple answer. You can't just say, my event's a fundraiser. You really can't even say, my event's a garden party. We got to look at what it is about the event that makes it unique. Is it specifically an outdoor or an indoor event? Is it themed? What is the theme? Can we change and adapt that theme? And what would an adapted theme even look like? Now, I'm not going to be able to answer all these questions for you here, but once you've done that self-examination, once you have the answer to those questions, you now have the tools to start making the decisions. You have it all in front of you. Now you have to decide things like, can you put together swag bags that are in line with the theme? Are those going to be passed out, mailed, or delivered? Can you incorporate an in-person aspect to your event that also has an engaging virtual component? If you can't sit 200 people at tables of 10 under a big tent, what can you do instead? Well, if you decide to hold your event here in the virtual space, you need to decide how that event's going to look. Look at what you think you can realistically get from that event and adjust your budget appropriately. The reality is a strong, well-executed virtual event that is held to replace an in-person event can expect to earn about 40% of what the original in-person event would have. Now, that's based on numbers from charitable organizations and foundations since March. A strong program that is well thought out and executed can do better, but you've got to be creative, and you've got to offer solutions unlike what everyone else is offering. If you decide to hold your event there in the real world, you're facing many of the challenges we've discussed over the past few weeks in my other videos. Fewer people in attendance, higher function cost, distancing, contact tracing, and compliance restrictions. Now, it can be done. If it's done well, your larger donors will make generous contributions. The important thing if you're going to do this is to make these events feel exceptional. Something truly unique. Something that not only supports a cause your donors believe in, but also offers a truly exceptional and valued experience that they could not get someplace else. One of the neat things about this new reality is that all bets are off. So your events can be as outlandish as you can imagine and can be really out of the box if that's something that would appeal to your donors. Be creative, be inventive, be innovative. Now, let's say you opt for everywhere. Hybrid events are becoming the standard right now. And when I say hybrid, I'm really referring to two different types of events that fall under that umbrella. There are the concurrent hybrid events, which are essentially a simulcast and moderated component to an in-person event for folks who would like to be there in person but are either unable or don't feel ready. I actually talked about this last week when I talked about having an MVC, a Master of Virtual Ceremonies, to sort of offer commentary like you would in a parade. And there are the communal or shared experience hybrid events. These are ones where the live programming is all virtual, but where tangible elements, a bottle of wine if you're doing a virtual wine tasting, a special treat, a swag bag, a craft, these have all been delivered ahead of time. And everyone gets to have the same direct and tactile experience together. Now, whatever you decide, make sure you have the tools to make it work. If this sort of thing is new or you want support, get support. Sure, yes, you can hire someone like me. I'd love it if you did. That's what I do. And I can help you plan and execute. Or If that's not something you're prepared to do, you can mine the resources in your own organization. Staff members, board members, friends in the community, sponsors. Use everything you have in your arsenal. Remember, you are the experts in planning these events. Whether you run a company that plans these or you're the development director who's been tasked with making these things happen, so you need to bring in everyone you can to help. And there is no shame in asking for support or even asking basic questions along the way, because you got to remember, this is all new for all of us. Having said that, have a plan. Things are crazy enough these days, and organizations have had to pivot and change so quickly that you really need to have the pieces together, the pieces that can't change. You have to have those pieces locked down and planned out so that you have the ability to adapt as necessary. Which leads me to my last bit of advice. When you plan your event, plan to pivot. There is nothing worse than what we all went through this year already. A big event planned, waiting until the last minute and hoping we'd be able to pull it off, and then having to cancel. We've lost months of work, hours of time invested with no return. So when you plan your event, make sure you're in a position where you don't have to cancel. You just need to pivot a bit. Make it work for you, and make it work with the changes that are thrown at you. Anticipate as many curveballs as you can and strategize ways to deal with them ahead of time. Thanks for joining us today. If your organization could use some help figuring out what your future holds and how to approach these types of events, give us a call. New Latitude Consulting helps you reimagine your development goals and bring your events to a new latitude. You can find us on Facebook or email me at chris@newlatitudeconsulting.com. New Latitude Consulting. Elevate your expectations.